Good morning, Clay.
Morning, Mardia.
Yeah, I just wanted to check that my audio is working.
Okay, I can hear you. Thank you.
Wonderful.
You have the agenda available to flight once I've done the welcoming.
Yes, Chair. I will flight it immediately after you've done the welcoming.
Thank you.
Chair, we can.
Colleagues, good morning. Mardia, did you want to say something?
Yes, Chair. I just wanted to say we can start.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope everybody can see me so that they take note that I'm not a robot. If I can start with the welcoming and opening remarks, I'd like to welcome everybody to the meeting, the honourable members, the honourable Minister, MEC Mubuyani and his team from the legislature. Welcome to you as well as Councillor Shabangu from the Eshlanzeni district, the officials or the Department of Mega. And if I've missed somebody out, I'm very sorry about that. And then also our departmental officials. Thank you very much for being here. This is the Select Committee on Economic Development and Trade, and the discussions that are going to take place today are very important to us in this committee on the way forward. I would also then just like to thank everybody for availing themselves for attending this important meeting. If I may, just some house rules. As it is a virtual meeting, I would like to request that when you speak for the first time, you introduce yourself by stating your full name and the organization or department you represent. And then just additionally for security and verification purposes, that everybody switches on their camera during the first engagement so that we can see you and confirm that we are indeed engaging with a person and not a robot. Thereafter, you can switch off your camera if you wish. Mardia, if I could ask for any apologies, and then once we've received that, could you flight the agenda so that we can adopt the agenda?
We'll do
you.
so, Chair. Chair, the MEC is Honorable Masilela, and Honorable Mubiani is and the Honorable Mubiani is the chairperson from the Mpumalanga Provincial Legislature. Just to clarify.
All right, thank you for that. Sorry
Yes,
about that,
Chair.
Honorable Masilela. She knows me, luckily.
Yes, Chair, on the platform today, we have one apology from Honorable Kennedy, but her alternate, Honorable Machobeni, is in the meeting. In attendance today on the platform, we have yourself, Honorable Mabilo, Honorable Tlangisa Nododa, Honorable Machobeni, Honorable Pina, Honorable Farmer. I'm not sure if I've missed any members who have joined afterwards. And then
Honorable Van den Berg.
Honorable Van den Berg, yes. So those are the members we have on the platform, Chair.
Thank you very much.
And Honorable Sitoli. Thank you.
And Honorable Sitoli. Thank you, Honorable Sitoli.
Thank you, Honorable Sitoli. Sorry about that. Could you, Mardia, please flight the agenda for us?
Yes, Chair. Can everyone see my screen?
If you could just enlarge it a little. Okay, perfect. Colleagues, as you can see, we have two items that will be tabled today. The briefing by the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition on the Nkomazi Special Economic Zone and the delays with the SCZ, as well as briefing by the Mpumalanga Provincial Department of Economic Development and Tourism, together with the Mpumalanga Growth Development Agency on the Nkomazi Special Economic Zone. And then we will move to questions and responses, and then the consideration and adoption of minutes, if we have enough time for that, Mardia. If not, we will move it to a next meeting. And then could I move for the adoption of the agenda, if there are no objections? Can you see hands, Mardia?
Chairperson, yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Pinar.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'll move for the adoption of the agenda.
Thank you very much. Could I have a seconder to the adoption?
I see Honorable Machobeni's hand is raised, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Machobeni.
Morning, Chair. Morning, everyone in the meeting. I second the adoption of the agenda. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much for that, Honorable Machobeni. Before we proceed, I would just like to inform the committee members as well as the other stakeholders on the platform that the committee has received a request from the Honorable Deputy Minister needing to leave by the latest 11:30 because of another pressing engagement, as well as the district municipality's mayor, executive mayor, Honorable Councillor Shabangu, if we can just note that as well. And then I would just like to thank the Deputy Minister for prioritizing this meeting and joining us, even if it is briefly. Mardia, can we move to the first item?
Yes, Chair. The department's already been given hosting rights, Chair.
Okay, thank you. I don't know who's going to take us through with regard to the briefing by the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. But I think before I do that, Honourable DM, have you got anything that you would like to table before the department comes in?
Recording in progress.
Yes, thank you very much, Chairperson, and good morning to the honourable members, officials, and it's always a privilege to be with the NCOP, and I'm delighted to introduce to you our team from the DTIC so that you know who is in the meeting. We have the acting DDG, Mr. Yunus Hussein, the director for the SEZ program, Mr. Sean Moses, and Ms. Seneca Jensma from IDC Industrial Zones program. And they will be able to go through the presentation, Chair. I just thought it would be useful to make a couple of introductory remarks to set the scene, and then I will hand over to the team from DTIC. So Chair, and I'm sure many of the members are aware, but our Special Economic Zone program plays a significant role in supporting the country's industrial policy by creating environments conducive to export-led growth, investment, and job creation. And this is done primarily through attracting investment, a focus obviously on job creation, infrastructure development, skills development, and export promotion. Now, the Nkomazi Special Economic Zone is the axis of economic integration between the South African provinces of Mpumalanga, Gauteng, and Limpopo, and the independent states of Swaziland and Mozambique. It's strategically positioned in the border town of Komati Port. The Nkomazi SEZ offers the investor a multi-sector base of operations along the Maputo Development Corridor, which runs through Southern Africa's most productive regions. The SEZ was designated in 2019 in terms of the Special Economic Zone Act number 16 of 2014, and the entity was registered as Mpumalanga and Nkomazi SEZ SOC Limited in 2021. To date, the SEZ is not operational due to various challenges experienced in the past, such as poor coordinated planning arrangements across local, provincial, and national government, lack of governance and human resource capacity for SEZ entity, technical capacity for infrastructure development, and a lack of qualified investors. Now, although it's not operational, there has, Chairperson, been significant progress. The SEZ entity has secured land through a 50-year lease agreement with the Nkomazi municipality. A services agreement with the Nkomazi local municipality was also concluded that enables the SEZ entity to develop the bulk infrastructure such as water and sewage treatment plants as required, whereby the municipality will then take over the operations thereof. The Mpumalanga provincial government has provided 40 million rand through a special allocation to the SEZ for operational and infrastructure development support. And the DTIC has employed the IZP to provide technical support to the SEZ with the aim of accelerating operations. The MEC for the Department of Economic Development and Tourism, in conjunction with the other departments, the DTIC, Mega, Inhlanzeni, and Nkomazi municipalities, including traditional leadership, have all agreed on institutional arrangements. The SEZ entity, through the support of the Industrial Zones program, has managed to attract 4 investors with a cumulative investment value of approximately 10 billion rand. The investments are located within agro-processing, renewable energy, and logistics, and they include companies such as DP World, Vutomi Energy, Quattro Canna, and Cotton SA. DP World is set to provide its own capital to the value of 450 million rand to construct a 4-kilometer rail siding with connection to the main Transnet freight rail. This development lays a good foundation for the realization of the African continental free trade area. Infrastructure South Africa Chair is also offering support to the SEZ entity to develop a bankable business plan for infrastructure funding, which will enable the entity to access funding from the BFI and other funding sources. And so, Chair, just in conclusion, while there have been delays, there has also been significant progress, and there's much better coordination taking place across all levels of government. And I think the team is moving in the right direction. And we appreciate the opportunity to come here before the Select Committee today and to present to you on the progress that's been made and some of the outstanding challenges which remain. So, Chair, thank you very much for the opportunity. And with your permission, I will hand over to the relevant official from the DTIC then, who will do the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable DM. Over to you, Department, Acting DDG.
Good morning, honourable members, and good morning, Honourable Deputy Minister. The presentation will be done by Sean Moses of the SEZ program and Stinica Jensen from the IDC Industrial Zone program. So over to you, Sean.
Hi, good morning, Honourable Chair, honourable members. DM and the rest of the colleagues. My name is Sean Moses. I'm from the Department Trade, Industry and Competition, focusing on the SEZ program. Can I maybe just, Chair, get an indication if the Secretariat will be flighting the presentation, or should I upload it from my side?
Mr. Moses, as I understood from the Secretariat, you do have hosting rights. So, Madia, are you flighting it, or must Mr. Moses do so?
Chair, if it's easier for them, that's actually why we gave them the hosting rights, Chair.
Okay, Mr. Moses, are you able to?
Yes, Chair. You can just cue me if you're able to see the presentation on your side.
Thank you. I can see it. Members, are you able to see?
Yes,
Yes, Chair, we are able to see it. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. And thanks to DM for also doing the introduction. I think it will make the job a bit easier of going to the presentation. So I'll just highlight some key points within the presentation. There's basically five focus areas. We will go on the background and progress of the SEZ, specifically then just highlighting the roles and the responsibility of government pertaining to the institutional arrangements, the key delays and interventions with regards to Nkomazi SEZ, progress and the investment pipeline, and then also focusing on the key activities that the industrial zones program is focusing on. So as DMS indicated, Chair, we have colleagues in the meeting that is forming our boots on the ground with regards to the SEZ implementation. So, honorable members, as you can see on the, I think on the left-hand side, there's indication of phase 1 of the SEZ. As indicated, this SEZ was designated by the Minister of the DTIC in 2019. It's strategic, located on the borders of Eswatini and Mozambique, and it's envisaged to serve as a gateway which ultimately we foresee that can enhance the trade relationships between the countries concerned. And we also then aligning it with the Africa Free Trade Agreement as well. According to the strategic plan of the SEZ, the targeted sectors with regards to the first phase will focus on agro-processing, logistics and manufacturing. And from a government perspective with regards to the DTIC, the department is then specifically focusing on policy and monitoring. The provincial government is responsible for the oversight in terms of operation and the governance of the entity, and then also specifically funding the bulk infrastructure for the operations of the SEZ. This slide, I think it's important to highlight it. This is an approach that we've further enhanced since 2020. It's one of the approaches that we also used in some of our newer designated SEZs in terms of formulating a tripartite agreement and intergovernmental relationship agreement across the three spheres of government. So you would have national, provincial and local government. Under local government, obviously, we would also then have your traditional authorities forming part of that arm as well. So from our perspective, local government still is an important arm in the implementation of SEZs, as they are usually the hosts where the SEZs are located. Therefore, they are then specifically important with the provisioning of land of the SEZ, looking then at assistance with the operation of bulk services, the spatial planning component, looking then at also ensuring that there's proper township and rezoning applications approved pertaining to the SEZ development. In terms of provincial government, this is usually the sphere of government where the entities of SEZs are registered in accordance to the PFMA, and also in alignment with the SEZ Act. Provincial government is then responsible for the operationalizing the SEZ to providing capacity, a budget to ensure that there is proper operations, and also looking then at the installation of bulk infrastructure services. With perspective to national government, as the DTIC, we're the custodians of the SEZ Act, therefore looking then at policy development and the legislative approval. So in this respect, only a SEZ that is formally gazetted in accordance to the SEZ Act by the Minister of the DTIC is then considered a gazetted SEZ. We also ensure that we have representation on the SEZ board, and Chair, you would also be pleased to know that the DTIC has appointed a board member, a senior manager within DTIC to sit on the SEZ board, thus making the Nkomazi SEZ board functional. We also then, through the SEZ fund, to look at supporting top structure funding. The department has taken a deliberate approach to focus on investor-centric development. So only in cases where there is a clear investor that has already reached bankability, that the department will support that through the top structure funding. And then, Honourable Chair, we also then have the Industrial Development Zone Program that's currently located at the IDC, which was a arm of the SEZ unit that was established post 2020 in an attempt to assist provinces to operationalize the SEZs. As highlighted by DM in his introduction, the Nkomazi SEZ company was registered in 2021. It is a subsidiary under MEGA. However, at this stage, it has not been afforded its 3D or 3C status, and the province is currently working on achieving that. On the land availability, we're pleased to report there that in conjunction with the Nkomazi municipality, the SEZ entity has signed a 50-year lease agreement. It was already noted that the province is currently supporting the operational aspect of the entity. And from the DTIC side, due to no applications received for top structure funding, we have not been able to support the SEZ with top structure funding, but as indicated, that option is available to the SEZ upon credible applications as well. Furthermore, Chair, the SEZ has also concluded a service level agreement with Nkomazi SEZ, basically on a build, operate and transfer principle, meaning that the SEZ will be responsible for the installation of bulk services such as water and sewage treatment plants. It was also noted in some of the reports that these services will also have an expanded impact on the community on bringing reliable water and sewage treatment to the surrounding communities. Once installed, services to operate these bulk infrastructure will then be transferred to the local municipality. Chair, the challenges here is not ranked in terms of priority. We are of the view that they are of equal importance, and we are also of the view that we need to ensure that as far as possible that we can alleviate these challenges to ensure that we have a credible operational SEZ. But as highlighted, I think since the inception of the SEZ in 2019, there was a disjuncture in terms of the coordination of the SEZ planning and the approach taken to the establishment and functionality of the SEZ. However, as indicated through the intervention of the MEC, we have then formulated a project steering committee which has all representatives of the relevant stakeholders as part of this steering committee, and I think in the follow-up presentation by the province, they will also outline in terms of how the steering committee is functioning. And as highlighted, the key attempt of the steering committee is then to integrate the roles and functions of the three spheres of government as per the tripartite agreement. Governance and human resource capacity is a critical concern for the SEZ. Currently, there is a acting CEO and supported by staff members within the SEZ entity. The province has also reported that they are attempting to fill 9 vacancies of the entity within this financial year. However, as indicated, it has been reported by the province that the board has been constituted, which have representatives of all 3 spheres of government, and I believe the meetings are already set for the board to meet as well. Also, we've noted that due to the constraint of capacity within the SEZ, there was a lack of technical advisory support, and through the department's intervention, we've also lobbied Infrastructure South Africa to support the SEZ specifically on project preparation, thus focusing on establishing bankable business plans, which can be used to secure funding either through the BFI component or looking at private sector funding for bulk services as well. And we also then, as indicated, have the IZP that is also assisting the entity in terms of the rollout of the implementation plans. Critical, Chair, as indicated, we focus on an investor-centric approach, and through the interventions of the IZP, we have managed to sign a heads of agreement with a major investor, DP World, and there's also advanced discussions with Vitomi Energy, which will be a company installing the energy component for the SEZ as well. And as indicated, this is just hinged on the township registration process, which I believe is also in advanced stages as well. Chair, this is just details of the 4 investors, just to outline in terms of which sectors they are located in. We have DP World, which is in logistics. We are also pleased to use that in terms of this investment, they will use their own funding to the value of 450 million rand to install infrastructure that they require. We have then Vitomi Energy, which is to invest 8 billion on a gas to power plant, Quattro Cana, that is advancing on the hemp value chain, and there's also then a 1.8 billion and Cotton SA, which brings in 150 million, and this adds up into approximately 10 billion rands worth of investment. However, as highlighted, DP World is clearly our low-hanging fruit in terms of being the first mover within the SEZ. There is already a 30 hectares site that has been reserved for this development, and the 450 million rand as indicated will then be used to construct a 4-kilometer rail siding, which will then connect to the main Transnet freight rail. Chair, this is then the last slide, and just then to highlight our industrial zones program support. So the key focus areas within Nkomazi SEZ is that they looking at the management and planning and the technical advisory services. They also assisted the SEZ in terms of the organizational design and also guided the SEZ to ensure that there is a board in place. Some of the key achievements that they've or interventions that they've led was then the signing of the land lease agreement, and which has subsequently been registered in the deeds office. They also engaged with SANRAL to work on the public works road access approval, and also facilitated confirmation of provincial budget for the development of infrastructure and operational offices, and they're continuously working on investor facilitation and also looking at the unlocking and delivery of the provision of technical engineering support. Chair, with that, I would like to end my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moses. For clarity purpose, members, I've just received a presentation. It's a very short presentation from the Ehlonzeni District Municipality. They would also like to come in just before the provincial department. They will do it in conjunction with MEGA. So if that carries your approval, we will carry on with their presentation then, and then with MEGA, and then the province. Thank you very much. The Ehlonzeni district, if you can just come in, please, it would be good.
No, thank you very much, Chair, for affording us this opportunity. Good morning to your good self.
Before you carry on, could you just put on your video so that we can recognize you as a person? Thank you. There we are. We can see you.
No,
You're more than
thank you very
welcome
much.
to switch off now. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Chair, for affording us this opportunity to be part of this very important meeting. Let me take the opportunity to greet your good self and all members of the committee that are present on the platform and all other stakeholders that might have joined us. Indeed, Honorable Chair, this is Executive Mayor, Councillor Tera Shabangu from Ehlonzeni District Municipality. In terms of the district development model, we are part of the SEZ. And the presentation that we are bringing forth, I want to agree with the presentation of the DM in terms of the hiccups that we had with the SEZ, and also the presentation that has just been given by Ushon. Really, it shows some improvement, and we are encouraged as a district that the board has been appointed by the Premier. That shows indication that at least now there is a move around the issue of SEZ. But before I could go further, I will then, through your permission, Chair, because I'm with my technical support manager, Bright Mdagane. If you permit me that, I will give him this opportunity just to give a high summary of the report that has been presented. Oh, thank you very much. If you allow me, I will then hand over to Brian to present the short presentation that is on the platform.
Okay, thank you very much for that. He's more than welcome. 10 minutes for you because it's a new presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Executive Mayor, and good morning to the honorable members and yourself, Chairperson. We thank you for this opportunity. There's really just 2 slides that we have prepared as Ehlanzeni District Municipality in support for the SEZ. That's what we were required in the letter that was communicated to the district municipality. In effect, there are really just 5 programs that we would like to share that Ehlanzeni is implementing. In the main, it's the comprehensive economic sector-based skills development strategy. This is a program that's reacting to one of the challenges that have been picked up with the SEZ. And the thinking there is that that program will allow Ehlanzeni District Municipality to assist in developing skills in the community around Ehlanzeni to support the SEZ. We trust there will be a long-term development that will require that all the people in the district municipality contribute to the SEZ and the benefits thereof. The second one is that we have identified that there'll be a great need for public participation and outreach programs for the SEZ, just to make sure that all members of the community, as well as traditional leaders, are on board with what we are implementing as government in terms of the special economic zone in Nkomazi. These programs are being implemented by Ehlanzeni District Municipality, working together with the SEZ and all other role players involved. The third program is a comprehensive farmer support program. This one is key for us as a district municipality, being a rural district, to ensure that we incorporate participation from members of the public who are actively participating in agriculture, looking at the skills base, looking at the resource availability, looking at the economic opportunity for ordinary members of society who have got land, who can participate in farming. We are looking at implementing this program so that we are able to ensure that there's comprehensive farmer support and there's wide benefit in this program. In the last 2 programs, which are on the next slide, it is the implementation of the Ehlanzeni District Development Model Program. This is a national program that we are implementing in Ehlanzeni District Municipality. What is key about this program is to ensure that we have integration, we have integrated planning, which is one of the challenges that have been raised, so that we participate together as government and the private sector to move forward. And in this regard, our program on the DDM has even allowed us to partner with the private sector with partnerships that are already budding, that are supported by other ministries of government. We also are working together with the Mpumalanga Economic Growth and Development Agency. There are industrial firms throughout the district outside of just the SEZs that would also like to have linkages forward and backward to the SEZ that we are participating on. And the last one, which I do not see there, is in terms of the governance of the Nkomazi SEZ, where our municipal manager at Ehlanzeni District Municipality, Dr. N.P. Mahlalela, was also appointed as a board member to the SEZ. So we are supporting her in executing those functions so that we ensure that the special economic zone in Nkomazi comes to fruition. That is the short presentation from Ehlanzeni in terms of what we have packaged to support the program. Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Executive Mayor.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Before we carry on, I just want to state that what we normally do in our committees is we have all the presentations and then the question and answer session is right at the end. So I'm asking the presenters to be prepared with their teams for questions that will emanate at the end of the meeting. And then another thing that we have taken a resolution on is that all meeting documents, the reports must be sent to the committee 7 days prior to the actual meeting. So I'm asking you, should we meet with you again, that you adhere to this to allow members to prepare properly? And could I ask that this presentation be sent to the Secretariat so that they can just distribute to the members? Honourable Shabangu, Councillor Shabangu, would you like to say something before I hand over to the department and Mega?
No, thank you very much, Chair, for giving us clarity on how you deal with matters in your portfolio committee. We are really going to adhere as you have directly given us the directives on how we should bring on our presentations and also our participation. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. Over to the Mpumalanga Provincial Department as well as Mega. Thank you.
Greetings, Honorable Chairperson, and let me thank you and honorable members of the Select Committee for the opportunity afforded to the department to come and update the committee on the current status regarding the implementation of the Nkomazi Special Economic Zone Program since its designation in 2019. My greetings are also extended to the Honorable Deputy Ministers, Honorable Mbuyane, the Chairperson of the Select Committee in the province, Honorable Executive Mayor of Ehlanzeni District Municipality and his Municipal Manager, our Head of Department, the Chairperson of the Nkomazi SEZ, together with his acting CEO. Representatives of the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, and all other officials who are part of this meeting today. Let me start
Honourable
off.
MEC, before you carry on, because of the bandwidth problems, could I ask you to switch off your video? Because I keep losing you.
No, thank you, Chairperson. Let me start off by underscoring the importance of the Nkomazi's SEZ to the people of Nkomazi Municipality, the Ehlanzeni District Municipality, the people of the province, as well as the country as a whole, including our neighboring countries and the region. Evidently, the opportunities that are presented by the SEZ program towards inclusive growth and job creation cannot be overemphasized. The Nkomazi SEZ is one of the catalytic projects through which the province seeks to accelerate its reindustrialization program, consequently contribute meaningfully towards addressing the triple challenges that continue to devastate our people, particularly the poor. As a province, we opted to locate this project at Komati-Poort, one of the towns of Nkomazi municipality, a municipality that has been identified as one of the so-called poverty pocket areas by the province. Komati-Poort is a town situated at the confluence of the Crocodile and Komati rivers in Mpumalanga province and 8 kilometers from the Crocodile Bridge Gate into the Kruger National Park, just 3 kilometers from the Mozambique border and 65 kilometers from the Eswatini border. That is the Limbombo or Resano, Gashia and Mananga border post, to be precise. Therefore, for the province to locate the catalytic project in Komati-Poort was not only deliberate, but also strategic. In our considered view, we see this project presenting huge potential not only to change the socio-economic landscape of the poverty pocket area for the better, but also to ramp up agricultural production in the province, increase the volumes of exports and become a gateway to new market opportunities in the region. African continent, Middle East, and East Asian countries. In addition, this catalytic project will definitely unlock more business and job opportunities in the entire agricultural value chains, stimulate local economic growth, and consequently impact positively on the lives of people at all levels of the socio-economic ladder. Honorable Chairperson and members, we are quite aware that the implementation of the Nkomazi SEZ program post-designation has not unfolded as planned. We assume that the interim phase, of which is the project preparation phase, will be delivered within the prescribed timelines. Unfortunately, things did not pan out as planned. There were so many bottlenecks that we had to unblock, given that this is a greenfield project located in rural setting. As the department, we had to ensure that all the conditions of establishment are complied with to the latter, an issue of proper project preparation is satisfactorily addressed. These two broad issues, I must say, resulted in the Nkomazi SEZ project schedule timelines being compromised to a large extent. The good news is that the current administration has decided to pull out all the stops in order to accelerate the implementation of the Nkomazi SEZ program. We have agreed that the SEZ entity has to be stabilized as a matter of urgency so that it is a better position to drive the implementation of the project. One has already appointed a full board of the entity in November 2024, and all hands are on deck now. The board is already in the process of capacitating the entity. They are currently speeding up the process of recruitment, obviously recruiting personnel with the requisite skill to run the SEZ program. Together with the entity, we assist with the task of getting the detailed engineering designs completed as planned. According to the information at my disposal, this process will be completed around September this year. Immediately after completion, construction should ensue seamlessly. We are also working very towards strengthening the investment pipeline. The entity is currently engaged in a process of revisiting all those investors that have registered their interest to locate into the zone, just to double check whether their appetite is still high. While we appreciate all these other efforts that the entity is making, the issue of funding remains our key challenge going forward. We are in a process of mobilizing more funding to supplement the little resources that the province has set aside to support the Nkomazi SEZ. We are currently working with Infrastructure South Africa in strengthening the Nkomazi SEZ business plan, basically to bring it at a bankable level. This will assist us to apply for the budget facility for infrastructure from National Treasury in the next window, but will also utilize the bankable business plan to approach other funding sources, particularly the private sector. This is one area where we believe the Select Committee could also assist and advise of any other mechanism which we could employ to secure additional funding for the Nkomazi SEZ project. With these few words, I wish to thank you for your time at this juncture. With your permission, Chairperson, I will then request the SEZ entity to present the current status of the Nkomazi SEZ. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Masalelo. That was a good background for us that we can use, and we will look to the possibility of assisting and advising you to secure additional funding, which I think is a pie in the sky because we all know that the budgets have been cut to the bone. But we hear what you say, and let's see which avenues are available. Okay, over to the next presenter.
Good morning, Honorable Chair.
Just show us your face, please.
I've switched on my video, but apparently it was overtaken by the slide. Can you?
Yes, we can see. You can switch off your video now.
No, thank you very much, Mr. Mnisi, the acting CEO of the Nkomazi SEZ. And let me take this opportunity also to extend my greetings to all the leadership that is here and the colleagues that are also on the platform. I'm not sure whether the Secretariat will be flighting on my behalf, but if possible.
Okay, it has been flighted.
No, thank you very much. Let me also just indicate upfront, Chair, that the slide on the budget has been reworked because there were some few things that we needed to sort out, but the rest of the presentation is still the same as forwarded to the committee. Next slide, please.
Sorry, while they're looking for the slide, could you just indicate to the honourable members which slides have been adjusted? So that we take.
Yeah, it's slide 22.
Thank you very much.
Chair, I must indicate that I won't be really going into details on those slides because most of the issues have been covered already, but I will accentuate certain areas that will require some more elaboration. Next slide, please. We thought that it is important that we indicate the importance of the Nkomazi SEZ, looking at its value proposition. As things stand currently, the N4 is being used, or should I say the Maputo port, is being used as a gateway to export a lot of commodities in the rest of the world. And these are some of the commodities that are exported to various parts of the world. So the Nkomazi SEZ, since it's going to deal with logistics, is going to be very critical even to enhance this activity. Next slide. We are also emphasizing the point which most of the speakers have already alluded to, that we are strategically located in terms of promoting not only economic growth within the country, but also to promote economic integration with the rest of SADC and the continent as a whole. Next slide. We are also indicating here that this is an SEZ that while it is skewed towards agriculture, but it will be a multi-sectoral industrial zone that will also be accommodating logistics and even value add on a number of products that the province is currently producing. And it is an SEZ that is taking a posture of becoming a green SEZ, and so that at least we are also complying with some of the protocols that we have signed with the rest of the world. Next slide. And obviously, like any other SEZ that is being run in the country, we believe even this SEZ will be a one-stop shop where it will be assisting most of the investors that will be located in the SEZ with other logistics and other support services that they'll be needing. So all we plan to position the SEZ also as one-stop shop services. And we also want to customize some of the services to the individual needs of the investors. Next slide. Now, zooming to the progress to date, next slide. I must indicate that the SEZ has assumed a phased approach. Obviously, there are three distinct phases that we are following. The first phase, which is a designation, already that phase has been concluded in 2019. And we are now at the post phase level, that the interim phase, where we're doing all the preparations, making sure that when development commences, we don't find ourselves moving forth and backward because certain things not being addressed during the planning phase. As the MEC has emphasized, this is one area where the province said we cannot compromise this area of work because of other experiences that we have seen with the projects that were implemented by the province, that if we don't do proper planning, the chances are high that you might get your development being delayed to a large extent. Next slide, please. Chair, in this phase, there are 4 areas that we're looking at. The issue of the SEZ entity itself, because we are aware that at the beginning, when the SEZ was registered, it was assumed to be, or it was registered as a subsidiary of Mega. But later on, because of developments and the leadership take a different view, that let's rather stick to what the SEZ Act is requiring. But it's an area that I think the leadership will still firm up so that proper guidance is being provided. The other issue that we're looking at is governance of land development and in the investment pipeline. Next slide. As already pointed out, the entity was registered in 2021 as Mpumalanga Nkomazi SEZ state-owned company, and it is not listed as yet with the National Treasury, but this work is already underway so that we get the SEZ also registered. Next slide. With regard to governance, as already pointed out, the MEC has established a full board that is now running the program of the SEZ, and there is a CEO that has been seconded. But I must indicate, Chair, that already this is one area where the board has felt that it has to stabilize. Already an advert is out, and we hope very soon this position will be filled with a person that is full-time on the board and that will assist even on the full-time on the SEZ. And I think that will really assist in terms of us tracking the delivery of the project. There are plans that are in place that are guiding the activity of the SEZ. There is a structure that is graded and the posts are being filled, some of them, especially the strategic posts that we need very quickly to make sure that the work that we are currently doing, there are people who can support the delivery of that work. So, but the whole idea is that before the end of the financial year, all the posts of the SEZ should have been filled. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is just to indicate the structure that the SEZ has adopted. Next slide. This is where the SEZ is located, just at the periphery of the Nkomazi town, and they've already explained the location, a strategic location, and this is where the SEZ will be unfolding. Next slide, please. The municipality, with regard to this slide, has made available almost 600-700 hectares, and the minister has designated half of those sectors, but currently the 673 hectares are the ones that are registered with the DIS office under the control of the SEZ. Next slide. This is the approved SEZ layout plan that we are busy now developing. And even the current detailed designs are focusing on this layout. Next slide. Now coming to the land development issues, as I pointed out, the SEZ entity has entered into a 50-year land lease agreement with the Nkomazi municipality and is already registered with the deed office under the control of the SEZ. And the designated site of the zone has an EIA and a water use license. It has installed the parameter fence of the designated site, and the township establishment almost is before now, before the table of the Surveyor General, and we hope just to run off this work very quickly. And there are preliminary designs. As we speak, we have appointed already service providers that will be assisting us to conclude the detailed engineering, as the MEC has indicated, that we expect this process to be completed in September in the upcoming financial year. Next slide. Yeah, this is the work that the professional services will be done. It shows the amount that we'll be spending on this work, and that it will be completed in September 2025. And obviously, the installation of the bulb will take, in our own estimation, 18 months. Then thereafter, then development can ensue. And we expect that at least the first investor can locate in phase 1 from April 2027. Next slide. Yeah, this slide is trying just to detail some of the investors that are on our pipeline. Currently, we are sitting with 14 of those investors in our pipeline to the total value of 50 billion. And the number of jobs that are being estimated is almost 45,000. But this figure, we must indicate, it includes also the entire value chain of the various investors that have registered interest to locate within the SEZ. And we are also indicating that out of the 14, 9 of them obviously will be focusing on agro-processing, 4 on the green energy, and 1 on logistics. These are the 4 investors that have gone through our evaluation process, and which we believe that as soon as we are done with the bulk infrastructure, they'll also be able to start locating within the SEZ. Next slide. The other view that we have taken is that while it is important for us to drive the implementation of the SEZ, but obviously the posture that it must assume, it has to play the role of development within the precinct, even within the municipality. So what we have agreed with the local municipality is that they develop a precinct plan, which they have done, and it is included as a chapter. The SEZ is included as a chapter in their special development framework, so that the work that we do within the site must also be alive to other impact that it must have around the precinct, because we want also to assist in developing other services, which we believe will be supporting also the SEZ as it grows. So this is the precinct plan that the municipality has put together, and obviously a lot of assistance is going to be needed to ensure that the municipality is able to meet the needs that will arise because of the development of the SEZ. Next slide. Here we are just emphasizing the areas that are still open for development, especially your yellow areas. But as the SEZ grows, there are opportunities in this land that is available within the precinct, so that even the bulk infrastructure that the SEZ will be putting in place, it must also factor in the needs of these various areas that have been reflected in this diagram. Next slide. Yeah, this is the slide, Chair, that we said we've changed. We have brought a revised budget. I see that it has not been covered here, but all in all, the only shortfall that we'll be facing in the revised slide is only 4 million and odd, just to do with the clearance of the site. But obviously in the outer years, we are going to need almost the 2.8 billion and odd numbers to cover the development. This is part of the money that we are applying through the budget facility for infrastructure development. Next slide. Now, the 2.8 that is being estimated for the installation of bulk, obviously it will be covering phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, but when it comes to your internal bulk services, it will focus only on phase 1, because we are going to take a phase approach in terms of developing the SEZ. So this amount covers the bulk infrastructure for the entire designated area and also internal bulk services for phase 1. Thank you. Next slide. Here we are just indicating that we are working with ISA on improving the current business plan, because it has been developed almost 7 years ago, and there are a lot of changes that have happened. The environment has changed. So we have identified some few gaps, which together with ISA, we are trying at least to close those gaps. This work is already unfolding, and we believe that by around June, July, we should have concluded this exercise of bringing the current business plan into a bankable level, because we believe that it will assist us to apply for this facility and also approach the private sector to augment some of the shortfalls that we'll be facing as the process unfolds. Next slide. This is just indicating the roadmap of the approval process with ISA, as I've already indicated, that now ISA has already appointed a service provider that is doing the work. They're already on the ground, and we hope that by June, July, that work would have been concluded, and we'll be able also to pursue these other steps that we have indicated. Next slide. Here, Honorable Chair and members, we are just flagging some of the salient issues that we'll be addressing during the upcoming financial year. Obviously, we need to make sure that the SEZ entity is properly capacitated. It is able to discharge its function as required. Also, just to complete the issues of the township establishment and conclude on the engineering designs, including the installation of the bulk infrastructure, obviously address the issue of funding, and also ensure that we conclude the long-term agreements, firstly of the two companies that are almost ready, but also the other two, because there must be 4 in total, that at least we move to a level that we have long-term lease agreement, and we know that then the commitment is guaranteed. Next slide. We have also identified few key risks that we have to pay attention to them. The first one, obviously, it was the SEZ entity that if it is not capacitated, it might slow down the process. Fortunately, the current leadership is really pulling all stops to make sure that we address this risk. And also the issue of your bulk infrastructure, the tight timelines, and the monitoring is quite tight, so that at least the service providers are sticking to the project schedule and they do the work within the prescribed timelines. The other important element is that while we are doing this development, we should not also lose sight of the development of the SMMEs, because this is one of the conditions of the designation, that we have to ensure that SMMEs participate in all the activities that the SEZ will be undertaking. So for us, it is quite critical that we register this as a risk, because sometimes we might tend even to forget that we have got this important role to play. So since the SEZ is skewed towards agriculture development, obviously as a province, we are also water constrained. And here we are registering the point that unless we augment our source of water, we might run into challenges down the line. Fortunately, the Department of Water Affairs is also trying to address this issue, because there were studies that were done in the past where a new dam can be developed, and we are pleased that at least that process has resumed, and it will really assist a lot, because the advantage of the Lowveld is that as long as there's water, you can produce throughout the entire year. So the availability of water will really assist us even to go on irrigation rather than just depending on dry land. The other important issue which we believe needs to be addressed is your trade barriers, especially your non-trade barriers, that we believe that the national departments that are charged with this responsibility will also come into the party to assist us to ease the movement of goods, not only within the neighboring countries, but as we are also looking at African continental free trade as an opportunity for the SEZ, this area of work is very critical that we pay attention to them. The geopolitics obviously have got an impact on the SEZ, because when we developed the business plan, there were certain assumptions in terms of the access of markets in the rest of the world. Obviously, some of the tensions that are happening are also affecting some of those global supply chains. Therefore, we have also just to go back to the drawing board and make sure how best we position the SEZ to take an advantage of new opportunities that can arise, while we acknowledge some of the influence with the geopolitics are having on our plans. The next slide. Yeah, the other speakers have indicated that as a province, we are working very close with the other spheres of government, even other stakeholders. Obviously, there was a lull a bit, but with the current leadership, this process is being resuscitated. And this is the institutional arrangement that we have put together to make sure that nobody is left behind, that even our communities become part of this project, because for us that is very critical. Next slide. So there are three broad committees.
Mr. Manisi, sorry for interjecting. I know there are still 6 slides left, and the DM is leaving at 11:30, and I want to provide him the opportunity to have some closing remarks. So if you could just speed up a little, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, Chair, maybe I can just summarize the 3 by saying that at least there are structures that we have put in place, and the current board is already on the roadshow to make sure that we resuscitate this consultation project, so make sure that consultation with our stakeholders, and right from the first, they will be starting the roadshow led by the MEC. But I must also emphasize and thank the National Department DTIC through the program that they've established to support the SEZ, that really they've assisted us a lot to reach the point where we are. Thank you very much.
Sorry about that, Mr. Manisi, but thank you very much for closing up your presentation. Honorable DM, before you need to leave, would you like to give us your closing remarks?
Yeah, thank you very much, Chairperson, and I appreciate the opportunity, and thank you to all of the colleagues who've presented. I think my only comment, Chair, at this point would be to say that the DTIC remains available to support, and we are obviously doing everything we can. I think that has been recognized. I think it's important to recognize the extraordinarily fiscally constrained environment in which we operate, and the need to operationalize a number of SEZs, and the pool of funds that's available is not as much as we would like, obviously. And so this is why the medium-term development plan approved by Cabinet has identified the need to review the SEZ model and to find creative ways, in particular, around funding and how we catalyze these extraordinary opportunities and really get the most out of our special economic zones. And, you know, from a funding point of view, we need to get creative around how we can incentivize the private sector to really help us to drive the special economic zones in the same way that we've seen DP World, for example, investing in rail infrastructure. I think that the challenges we've experienced have actually created insights into the opportunities that exist to develop a new model that can really drive our SEZs to achieve the impact that will lead to inclusive growth and job creation. And that is the apex priority of the GNU. That is what we must be focused on. And we must be bold enough and ambitious enough to partner with the private sector in a more meaningful way to unlock the full potential of our SEZs. And thank you again, Chair, to you and the Select Committee for your oversight, for your scrutiny, and for allowing us the opportunity to present, to ensure that we get this incredible SEZ off the ground in a much more impactful way. And as you've seen, we are starting to move in the right direction. There have been some frustrations and some challenges, but by working together and with the support of the committee, I know that we will be able to unlock the full potential of the Nkomazi SEZ. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable DM. You may be excused. As I said earlier on, the Executive Mayor of the Eshlangeni District Municipality also needs to be excused. So, Honourable Executive Mayor, would you like some final words before you give over to your support staff that will have to answer 2 questions, should there be any that emanate from your presentation? Over to you, Executive Mayor.
So thank you very much, Chair, and my apology for just being a minute to be off from the side, but we want to appreciate the involvement by your committee, and also to address that we want to appreciate the involvement that you are giving to us. We hope also with your involvement as the committee, we'll see the movement within the SEZ, and also what the DM has indicated, that we are looking at your 7th administration, the first priority, inclusive growth, economic growth, and also job opportunities. We want to welcome and appreciate their involvement. We are constantly at your disposal when you need us. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Shabongo. I take it that all the presentations have been done. Did I miss any, Madia?
No, Chair, those are all the presentations, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Madia. Questions and responses. If I could have an indication by show of hands. I see Honourable Pinar. Any other hands? Nobody. Honourable Pinar, over to you.
Chair, Honourable Machubeni is also, and Honourable Modise is also just raised their hands, Chair.
Okay, I see their hands have now come up.
And
All right.
Honourable Mabilo as well, Chair.
Okay, can we do it as follows? Honourable Pinar, followed by Honourable Matsubeni, then Honourable Modise, and then Honourable Mabilu. Thank you very much. Over to you, Honourable Pinar.
Thank you, Chairperson. I hope I'm audible. Chairperson, I have a real passion for SEZs and industrial parks in general. I think with regards to opportunity for employment opportunities and investment, we have a golden opportunity as this select committee, obviously in working with other colleagues, to really change the tide with regards to the employment and unemployment figures in this country. And I think this is where SEZs must and will play, I think, a critical role. And as a select committee, we must, and I encourage my colleagues to drive hard on this issue. This SEZs is ideally placed for investment opportunities, especially from the outside and the inside of the country. Everybody wins. Local municipalities, our economy in general, outside investors with regards to the advantages that goes with the SEZ. Chairperson, but in order for us to actually unlock these investment and these opportunities, we need to look at the past. And unfortunately, as you will know, Chairperson, I believe Chairperson Modise was heading that oversight. We visited the SEZ in the Free State, Maluti Pufong SEZ, and it became very, very abundantly clear that our SEZs, not there, but at a few places across the country, are struggling. And they're struggling because of cooperation between the different spheres of government, especially when it comes to local, district, provincial, and national. We got the sense that there's always a pull and a take and a shove between these entities, and at the end of the day, it's the people that suffer, it's job opportunities that are lost, and we must hit hard with regards to our oversight responsibilities when it comes to SEZs. Now, with that being said, Chairperson, I've got a few questions for a few of the presentations made, and I would like to start with the National Department, with the DM or his representatives. He's left now, but the management in the DM's office, with regards to how can we as a select committee strengthen your hand as a national department? What do you need from us as an entity and as a committee to ensure we support you in your goal of creating more jobs, whether it's legislation, whether it's cooperation, ensuring cooperation between all the spheres? How can we strengthen your hand? I think I would love to hear from your side, because I know there is some frustrations from a few parties. With regards to the Nkomazi SEZ, or the proposed one now, if you can indicate to me what has been your cooperation now with the especially the local government level, because I think critically here, if it is to succeed, local government must be central in this process, because that was the big failure in the Free State at the Mpumalanga and Pufong SEZ. They were not speaking to each other. What the local government told us as a lit committee and the SEZ told us was two completely different things. So How are you strengthening the relationships? How regularly are you guys engaging with each other to ensure you have the same goals and make sure who's responsible for what aspect at the end of the day to ensure the success of the SEZ? And in the district municipality, I know the mayor, the mayor left us now, but maybe one of his officials can answer me. I know there's a big issue in your area with regards to water. Now, billions of proposed rands are to be spent on the SEZ, eventually by investors and by the government itself. But if there's no water, there's no water. And is the local area well prepared to supply the necessary water to the SEZ? Will we be able to have a functioning SEZ with a guaranteed water supply? And what's being done on your side to ensure this? Then also, I know Mega was part of the discussion in the presentation, Madam Chairperson, and when I saw Mega's name, I got really concerned. I can tell you now, I'm busy with the oversight. There was an article published as well on one of Mega's projects. It's actually Ex-Industria in Gauteng. Now, don't ask me why Mpumalanga government is involved in Gauteng, but they are. They are in charge of running the industrial park in Gauteng. Now, with that being said, Madam Chairperson, that industrial park that Mega is running is not paying its rates and taxes. People are without, or the industrial park is without water. The electricity has been cut by Tshwane municipality. This industrial park once employed 30,000 people. Now they employ 1,000 people. There's a lot of controversies there, and Mega is involved now yet again with another SEZ or with this upcoming SEZ. And I want to get some clarity with it from Mega's side, and maybe the MEC can answer this with regards to Mega. What oversight is she doing with them, and is she holding them accountable for their failures that they're currently experiencing? Chairperson, I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Pienaar. Honourable Machubeni.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning to you and good morning to the members and the Deputy Minister. My colleague also covers me under the issue of water crisis. I won't go there. Let me first appreciate the presentations. It shows a commitment to the team, because we see they were just of coordinating, but they made plans for that. And also there were delays that were happening, and they intervened to those delays. Also in monitoring, it's very important. You've mentioned the first presenter, he mentioned he is supporting that they are not doing. I would like to know what kind of support. They said they are not supporting. What are the reason for not supporting? And also, Chair, let me come to Ehlanzeni municipality. The presenter developed his skills to the community. It shows them there's a commitment. I appreciate that. And also the last presenter mentioned programs that they offered to the community. I would like to know which programs they are offered. And also he mentioned job creation. How many jobs they created? Because we don't like estimations. So far, Chairperson, let me thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. I suppose, or I believe it's me. I'm not sure if I should switch on my cam, because I'm struggling to have, behind me that logo, that Parliament logo behind me. But I'm here.
Okay, you're more than welcome to switch off. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair. Mine, Chair, it's not necessarily a question seeing that the ministry is no longer in the platform. Because firstly, I wanted to thank them very much for adhering to the request from you and the support staff that the presentation should be sent in time, and they did that, and that is much appreciated, so that they don't think we only criticize. They should also know that when they do good, we also acknowledge the good work that they've done. And thanks to the team that we work with to ensure that the decisions of the meeting are carried through, and that the executive see to it that they respect the committee and do as the committee requests. And I hope it could be something that is sustained not only from the DTIC, but all other 4 departments that also reports to this committee. Chair, in preparation for this meeting, I was intrigued by the Nkomazi SEZ investment pipeline presentation, especially on slide 7. Okay, sorry. Okay, on slide 7, Chair, it has 3 segments there. It has a segment of investor, segment of sector, and the detail. I think the detail speaks about what is it that the envisage doing there. And I think the slide 7 has about 4 investments or investors that are supposed to come into Nkomazi SEZ. And they speak to different sectors. One speaks to logistics from the DP world. The Vutomi Energy speaks to the energy sector. Quadrocana speaks to agro processing, and Cotton SA also speaks to agro processing. And the investment there, it's crazy amount. I mean, the first one, which speaks to logistics, speaks about the 450 million. And it will create about 1,000 jobs. There's one that speaks to gas to power plant to invest about 8 billion. And then there's an investment of 1.8 billion on a hemp. And I suppose this hemp, it's a fancy word for dagga. I suppose that's the correct one. And there's another 150 investment for cotton processing. I don't know, because the minister is not here, that what will be the role of the ministry in relation to assisting the SEZ with funding? Because I suppose these people, as they bring this money as investors, there should be some sort of money that will come from government. And I believe this will be a triple P private-public partnership. I just wanted to find out, is there a role that the minister will be playing in ensuring that the SEZ in Nkomazi is able to attract this, and how far is the process of attracting these identified investors? Is it something that is already in black and white? Are they on site? Is it something that is still have to happen? And how far is, if they're not on site as yet and there are still issues that needs to be ironed out, how far are they in ironing out those issues? So that will have been my interest, Chair, with regards to the presentation today. Otherwise, most of the things that were presented were clear, did not need anything from my side in terms of clarity seeking questions. And once again, thank you to you and the team led by Madia for ensuring that the department sticks to our resolutions, and thank to the department for responding and respecting the committee in submitting their reports on time. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Modise. Over to you, Honourable Mabilu.
No, thanks very much, Honourable Chair. Let me start by acknowledging the team that presented. I must indicate, Chair, that I acknowledge that all those who presented were frank, were transparent in sharing the historic challenges and all the unforeseen circumstances that militated against the progress. So one would note that one governance, they have established a governance structure, which is the board. But my quick question will relate to some of the specific timelines that are not attached. The first timeline will be to say, when is the position of the chief executive officer going to be filled on a permanent basis, as opposed to currently being on an acting capacity? So the question pertains to what timeline is provided for the advertisement, recruitment of a competent CEO, so that he or she must work as being full-time. So that would be my first question. The second question would pertain to the potential to unlock foreign direct investment as well as regional investment. But the key question would be to say, is the team, or has the team looked at the possibility of also attracting domestic investment? By domestic investment, I talk in terms of the private sector within the country, within South Africa. It has been reported, is public knowledge, that currently the private sector is sitting on trillions of rands that they are not investing in the economy of the country as a whole. So the question would be to say, has your team looked at the possibility of leveraging the domestic investment by the private sector? Now, as opposed to the other smaller administrative matters that need to be tightened up, that need to be followed up by yourselves, are there specific timelines that you have set aside for? For example, it is said that the SEZ is not registered with the DITC or the trust or the treasury, which is an administrative matter. It needs to be you need to apply. Have you applied for that, and what is the timeline? And Mr. Sean Moses from the DTIC has presented a quite succinct information to us around the funds that are available there. But what I got is that the SEZ has not applied for the funds that are applicable to them. So I just want to check what are the timelines in relation to that. The last one would be to the vacancies that currently exist and the township establishment. When are those going to be tightened up? But overall, I share the views of my colleagues that this is work in progress, and indeed we need to commend the team, but ours is to ensure that you accelerate the pace, the impetus, the momentum, so that we respond to the first two priorities of the government, which is inclusive growth and job creation. So the emphasis would be to say accelerate, build the impetus, and also the last one is the black industrialist moving forward, which will be a game changer for us. Thanks for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Mabilo. Before I ask some questions, I would like to extend an invitation to the Provincial Legislature members that are on the platform. If they have any questions that they would like to ask, they have the opportunity to do so. If you could raise your hands, then we can see who they are. Honourable Modise, just lower your hand, please. From the Provincial Legislature side. Okay, Madia, I don't see any hands. Do you?
No, Chair, I don't see any hands, Chair.
Okay, gone. I have some questions that I also need to ask. I would like to start off with the governance and capacity question. What are the timelines that you envisage for listing the SEZ entity with the National Treasury? And could you give us some information as to what is causing the delay? And then with regard to the board or the acting CEO, have they raised any concerns regarding governance risks or the ability to manage a 50 billion investment pipeline? And then with regard to the land development and infrastructure, given the 50-year land lease with Nkomazi municipality, I'd like to know if there are any conditions attached to this lease and how is the municipality capacitated to meet its obligations? And then what are the contingency plans should there be any delays in completing detailed engineering designs by September 2025? On the investment pipeline and economic impact, I would like to know what mechanisms are in place to ensure that the projected 45,000 jobs materialize, particularly for the local communities. On the budget and financial sustainability, how is the estimated 2.8 billion infrastructure budget benchmarked against other SEZs, and is it realistic? And does the province have a clear plan to mitigate the risk of the NSEZ becoming a financial liability? On risks and cross-border trade, I would like to ask the following. We are currently seeing many geopolitical risks jumping up everywhere. How will the Nkomazi SEZ pivot if global supply chains collapse or if South Africa's access to certain markets are restricted? And then what specific interventions are being designed to support smallholder farmers and SMMEs to ensure complete inclusive growth? And then institutional arrangements and oversight. How will your committees ensure that bi-monthly meetings with regard to political oversight are action-orientated and not just reporting forums where we see the tick box exercises? We need to ensure that bi-monthly meetings take place. And then I would also like to know what accountability mechanisms are in place if the Provincial Steering Committee or the technical committees fail to unblock any bottlenecks. And with regard to the social and local development impact, how is the SEZ planning to mitigate the impact on local social infrastructure, such as possible schools, housing, and health facilities, given the current municipality's budget constraints? And that is it from me. I just want to have a look and see if the province has put up any hands. Okay, no hands are up. Can I hand over to the various presenters so that they can just answer our questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson. May I just come in and indicate that I'm Victor Venfuel, Chairperson of the NSEZ board. From our side, I must indicate that as we came in and are being appointed as of last year, November, we had started to be functional mid-January this year, 2025. And already we've conducted as a board our induction and also our strategic planning session. We also sent a delegation to benchmark with Kuha SEZ because we take them as one of the successive or success stories in terms of SEZ in the country. And as indicated, we're currently in the process of filling up key executive positions, inclusive of the CEO, CFO, GM for cooperative services, and also GM for infrastructure. I must also indicate that as we came in, we got that our licensee, who's the Honorable MEC Masilela, already has an MOU with our local municipality, starting with the local municipality where we are located, which is Nkomazi local municipality, including the Ehlanzeni district municipality, and also inclusive of the other departments which are very key to ensure the success of the SEZ, namely Department of Public Works becomes key in terms of assisting us. The Department of Agriculture is also key to ensure that we've got sustainable and functional producers which will assist in terms of the supplying of commodities to the SEZ itself. Of course, we are also working closely with DTIC with regards to the work which the SEZ has to undertake. Practically, we are also having a program where we'll start engaging with the stakeholders. In the presentation which the acting CEO has made, there will be a meeting which will start on the 1st of April, and also cascading downwards within the Nkomazi local municipalities, because it's a municipality which has got several traditional leaders, and it's key that you also rope them in and they have an understanding of the work which the SEZ is doing, so that they can also avail certain land portions for the people who are keen also to start farming and also to be part of the inclusive economic growth which the SEZ must avail and present to them. Further to that, we will also engage with business forum, with labor organizations, SMMEs, and also cooperatives. I think it's also one point which Honorable Pinar did raise. Secondly, there is also a point which Honorable Mdisi raised, which relates to the process of how we check investors. We've got an 8-point plan, which I think the CEO can go into detail in terms of how we process the investors up until they reach a situation where the board has to approve or amend some of the proposals which they come with, so that we ensure that we have people who are credible, who will be there and ensure that they render the expected sustainable service, not only to the SEZ, but ensure that they create jobs to our people. Responding to what Honorable Mabilo has said, our target as the board is that by the end of April, we should have finalized the position of the CEO and also the CFO. Of course, there might be other eventualities, but we don't want to go beyond the month of May, because at times it happens the person you have recommended to be appointed must still serve notice wherever he was working and so on. So I will rest it at that and allow the CEO also to come in terms of details of the other issues which are quite administrative. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Over to the next person that's going to answer the questions. DTIC, Province, Mega, there are many questions. Please come on board.
Hi,
thank you.
Chair.
Okay, Mr. Hussein, on behalf of whom?
On behalf of DTIC, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and thank you to the members for the questions. From our side, just to clarify a few things, what we do have is the SEZ fund. And the SEZ fund is open to all SEZs for applications for projects, as Mr. Sean Moses had mentioned, in terms of the top structure. So when there's an application that is submitted to the SEZ fund, then subject to budgetary availability, possibility that we would provide the top structure funding for companies to be located in the SEZ. So that is there from our side. And it's a three-way partnership. The DTI is responsible or commits to funding for the top structures, or to look within the state to support the top structure. So depending on applications submitted and availability of funding, we would support the top structures in the SEZ. The good news for this particular SEZ is that they now have an anchor tenant in the form of DP World. And there was a question also about foreign and domestic investment. So amongst the four, there is domestic and foreign investment that are located on the ground. So the timelines in terms of their readiness, the first one is that DP World is ready, it's on the ground, it's looking at expanding its particular project. So it critically works like when you have an anchor tenant, then the others crowd in and things happen. And quite rightly, one of the members, member Mobilo mentioned that we now have to accelerate this. So it's all parts, the three parts is national, provincial, and local, to accelerate this particular SEZ so that it can be something that has the cluster for supply chain into the continent. So from our perspective, we're very committed. Our SEZ Industrial Zone program within the PMU at the IDC is providing technical advisory to the SEZ, is also assisting with the building of the relationships between the municipality, provincial and national, as well as doing the due diligence on the projects in terms of the investors that are coming forward. So the SEZ has provided capacity from our side in terms of the industrial zone programs, and will continue to support this particular SEZ to ensure that its implementation is now accelerated. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. It's Mr. Mnisi from the Nkomazi SEZ. I think some of the questions have been responded to. Now, there was a question raised relating to water availability. That's why in my presentation, as part of the risk, it's one of the issues that we have highlighted, that it's an issue that needs to be addressed. Because the SEZ, as I indicated, is skewed towards agro-processing. Obviously, you'll need also a lot of irrigation to happen. Therefore, the Department of Water Affairs, as I say, is already on board in terms of taking the process of building a new dam forward, because it's not a new issue altogether. It was just held in abeyance, but now at least it's back on stream, and we hope it will try to alleviate the pressure that we've indicated around water availability. In terms of the number of jobs issues that were raised by Honorable Madam Machobeni, obviously we have not reached a stage where now these investors are already located in the SEZ. Currently, we've got projections, and also it's our view that at the end of the day, we should be able to give absolute figures on the number of jobs that each investor would be creating. Going forward, once they're located, at least we'll be having definite figures in terms of the number of jobs that are created. And the way we are looking, even the issue of the jobs, is that any investor, if it has got an impact on the value chain, we have also to look at the various opportunities that are being created in the value chain and see whether we cannot also account for those figures that will be coming on stream because of the investor that is operating within this. In terms of commitments of the 4 investors, a question raised by Honorable Member Modise. Obviously, the 4 that we are flagging here are the 4 that has gone through the rigorous process. Now, as soon as we are done with the installation of the infrastructure, obviously the state of readiness from their side is there. They're just waiting that we deal with the issue, address the issue of your bulk infrastructure development. Now we are going to move to a point of signing a long lease agreement, but in terms of the other 2, the heads of terms have been completed. And as my colleague have indicated, DP World, if everything goes according to plan, they'll be on site around June, July. And once DP World is there, obviously our belief is that it will also unlock opportunities for others that wants to invest in the SEZ. The township establishment is a process that we think in the next 3 months or so will be completed, because the bulk of the work has been done. It's just that the current detailed designs are making some few amendments because of some of the realistic issues that are picking up. Obviously, they'll need us to tweak here and there on the current plan, but we don't see this as a major problem to adjust. I think the chair has dealt with the issues of governance. And on the 50-year lease agreement, obviously the land now is under the SEZ. The liability won't be lying much on the municipality. But what would be happening in the main is that the infrastructure that we're going to put, which that relates to water, because the municipality is a licensee. Once those infrastructure have been installed, operating, obviously they'll be handed over to the municipality to run. And we are working very close with the municipality. We have a service level agreement that spells out all those areas that we need to pay our attention on. And they have been involved right from the beginning, right from the application. We're working very closely with the local municipality because we understood that this project is located within. That's why they were even ready to make this land available, because they also wanted to see this project succeeding. And even now they're serving in all the structures that the province is established. Even in the board, they've got a representation to illustrate that how close we are with them. And obviously the issue of risk in terms of supply chain, we are keeping our eyes very close on that. As I said, some of the assumptions that we made during the conceptualization, obviously we're considering the existing supply chain. With the geopolitics, we are quite aware that there are changes, but there are also new opportunities. So obviously we are working very close just to make sure that we mitigate some of the challenges that can emerge from this area of work. Yeah, when it comes to the institutional arrangement, I think the chair was also address the commitment of the board to make sure that the institutional arrangement that have been set up get functional and everybody plays a role, because the document does clarify who's supposed to do what. And obviously it won't just be a meeting for the sake of meeting, but each stakeholder has to make sure that it delivers on the commitment that it made towards the SEZ. Obviously, when it comes to the social impact, when I was referring to the precinct, the impact of the SEZ on the precinct, it was also taking into account the issue of your social impact. That the SEZ in our case should not be inward looking, but it must be used as a tool also to develop the area and make sure it addresses the challenges that our people are facing. Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, thank you very much. Sorry, I was muted. I would just like to ask the members, have all your questions been answered? Are you happy? And before I give over to them, I know that Honourable Modise had some concerns or clarity. I don't know if it was answered because it was directed to the ministry, but I'm sure that the department can answer on that. So, Mr. Hussein, if I can give over to you. And Honourable Modise, I saw your hand go up, but it's down again. Is there something that you would like to ask or raise? Okay, it doesn't look like that.
No, Chair, I thought I was doing the sharp sign to say yes, everything has been attended to.
Oh, okay. But
Yes,
you had...
I will send my questions directly to the ministry, Chair.
Okay, super. But you had a... Just hold on. You had a question on the hemp issue, the marijuana issue. Do you need a response to that, or is that also going to be part and parcel of a question to the department, written question?
No, the official from the department, they can respond if they want to, but majority of the questions are more political, then I will send them to the minister. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, super. Thank you very much. Honourable Pinar?
Yes, Chairperson. Chairperson, my question regarding the involvement of Mega, who has a dicey history with regards to management. Can the MEC possibly or one of the representatives please clarify me on their involvement here, please, and their track record? Thank you.
Okay, there you have it, Mega. I don't know who's going to take that question and give Mr. Honourable Pinar comfort with regard to your inner workings and your track record. Mega?
Chair, the MEC has raised a hand, Chair.
Okay, super. MEC, over to you.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. Let's appreciate the questions raised by the Select Committee. I would like to respond in terms of the issues of Mega.
Thank you.
The issue of the Tshwane debt, we are engaging with the Tshwane municipality, and it seems as if they are also owing us. And we have established a team so that they look into the issues and come back to us. And in terms of the management in the Mega positions, we are filling all the positions, the senior management positions. Recently, we filled the position of the CFO, and soon I will be appointing the executive manager for corporate services, and also to indicate that Mega has been allocated budget to refurbish the industrial parks, of which also the industrial park it's also prioritized around the city of Tshwane. Those who are located in the city of Tshwane are also prioritized, and also want to conscientize the Select Committee that most tenants who were occupying those industrial parks there, some of them have been affected by the issues of COVID-19, and we are engaging with them, and some of the issues are attended by the board. so that they can look into the remedies, so that they can assist them in terms of settling some of their debts in the industrial park. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Masalela. I think one of the questions that Honourable Pina also needs a little clarity on is how come an Mpumalanga entity becomes involved in a Gauteng SEZ. Could you just give us an answer and a link as to why that transpired?
No, thank you very much, Chair. The industrial parks belongs to Mega, and you'll know each and every 5 years there's the issue of demarcation. The industrial parks were in Mpumalanga, and when the demarcation demarcated the province, and the industrial park falls now in Gauteng, but they're still owned by Mega. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That clarifies it for him. Are there any other questions outstanding that need to be answered? You have the opportunity now, but I do not think so. I think everything has been answered. If I may, before excusing, sorry?
Yeah, sorry, my hand was up.
Go ahead, Honourable Pinaar.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. MEC, thank you for your response. But I just want to indicate this. I'm not trying to target you specifically. I'm honestly reaching out to take hands with you, because I think you have a great opportunity here to turn something around and make real change, and not only in Mpumalanga but within the country as well. So I would implore you to please keep an eye on Mega, engage them as often and as regularly as possible. So we can turn that structure around. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honourable Pinaar. Before we allow the departments and Mega and the Eshlangeni District Council members to excuse themselves while we attend to internal admin issues, I would just like to do a small summary, and then you are allowed to excuse yourselves. We've seen that today's presentation shows progress, particularly with regard to the 10 billion in potential private sector investments that have been secured. This is, to me, and I think to the members, a positive sign of confidence. But Honourable MEC and the acting CEO of Mega, the Nkomazi SEZ remains hamstrung by governance failures, poor coordination, and the critical omission of Treasury listing. This, in my view, is really blocking access to infrastructure funding. As you know, I've done an in-depth research into the Nkomazi SEZ because I come from that province and I served in the economic cluster in the 6th Parliament. And I know that 40 million has already been spent on this SEZ and no tangible infrastructure is to be seen. And then with regard to the communities in Nkomazi, the highest unemployment rates in Mpumalanga also comes from Nkomazi. And we've seen these communities in Nkomazi having their hopes raised and dashed far too often. This project was meant to unlock economic opportunity and not deepen the frustration of the community. So I really pray that this SEZ is going to see the light at the end of the day. And then with regard to our fiscal constraints, it is, as the Deputy Minister said, private sector interest is invaluable. And it is going to collapse if we don't urgently fix the basics with regard to the land readiness, the infrastructure, and credible governance. We know that this SEZ can be a catalyst for Mpumalanga's economy and regional trade, especially under our African CFTA, but only if government meets investors halfway. So we must look critically into that and not just have a paper exercise again. And then Honourable MEC and all the other presenters, we as the Select Committee expect a clear, time-bound plan aligned with Treasury requirements and full accountability. And you can be rest assured that this committee will monitor this project closely, because the people of Nkomazi and the province deserve delivery, not another missed opportunity. Because it's 5 years down the line since its designation, and we haven't seen the promises being realized or being materialized. So please, Honourable MEC, we need your support. We are here to give our support wherever we can. And as I said, we are going to watch this with a hawk eye, and we expect to see invaluable project designs coming from this SEZ. Thank you very much. In saying that, you are more than welcome to excuse yourself, because we're going to carry on with internal admin issues like minutes and so forth, but nothing prohibits you from staying on the platform. Madia, if I may ask you to flight the minutes, please. They need to be adopted.
Yes, Chair. Just a moment. Okay, Chair, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, thank you.
Chair, we've got the minutes of the 12th of March. This was
Okay.
the last of minutes that we still need to adopt. We've got two sets of minutes, Chair, the 12th of March and last week's meeting, the
Okay,
18th
great.
of March.
Members, we've all received these minutes. I take it has been read. Can we move for adoption of these minutes? If so, could I see hands being raised for that? Honourable Pienaar?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the adoption of the minutes as is.
Thank you very much, Honourable Pienaar. Could I have a seconder?
Member Modise, seconds, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Modise. Before we go to the second set of minutes, could I ask if there are any matters arising from the minutes? Okay, nothing. Thanks, Madia. The 18th of March. Okay, if you can just scroll up. Thank you very much. I take it that these minutes have also been read. If so, could we ask for a mover and a seconder? Honourable van den Berg.
Thank you, Chair. I should then at least also have a turn to speak today, and therefore I will I will accept the minutes and I'll move for them.
Thank you very much. You have been very quiet today. I was wondering what had happened to you. Could we have a seconder, please?
Second, Chairperson, Honourable van der Berg's motion.
Thank you, Honourable Pienaar. Are there any matters arising from these minutes? Okay, I don't hear or see any hands. We can then, Madia, thank you very much, and to all the staff members. And as Honorable Modise said, thank you for putting pressure on the various departments to ensuring that we receive our documentation in time. If it wasn't for the strong team that we have in this cluster, it would not have happened. So please extend our thanks to all those involved in ensuring it happens. And in view of that, I declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.